اور محمد و آل محمد صلوات. لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا. لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا. اس ضعیفی میں میرا اکبر جوان مارا گیا. لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا. ایک بیٹے سے جڑی تھی ماں کی ساری کائنات. ایک بیٹے سے جڑی تھی ماں کی ساری کائنات. آج لیلا کے لیے سارا جہاں مارا گیا. لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا. غم زدہ بھائی زمین کو دیکھتا ہی رہ گیا. غم زدہ بھائی زمین کو دیکھتا ہی رہ گیا. جب یہ قاتل نے کہا اکبر یہاں مارا گیا. لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا. ہائے غربت 3 دن کی پیاس کا مارا ہوا. ہائے غربت 3 دن کی پیاس کا مارا ہوا. نہر اور خیموں کے بالکل درمیاں مارا گیا. لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا. لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا. اب دعاؤں سے کوئی لیلا کا ناتا ہی نہیں. اب دعاؤں سے کوئی لیلا کا ناتا ہی نہیں. جس کو جینے کی دعا دیتی تھی ماں مارا گیا. لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا. ایک نظر قاصد کو دیکھا اور اکبر سو گئے. ایک نظر قاصد کو دیکھا اور اکبر سو گئے. آمد مہماں ہوئی اور میزباں مارا گیا، لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا۔ اہل غم سینوں میں اکبر ہاتھ اپنے مار کر، اہل غم سینوں میں اکبر ہاتھ اپنے مار کر، کہہ رہے ہیں ظلم کا نیزہ یہاں مارا گیا، لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا۔ اے ضعیفی میں میرا اکبر جواں مارا گیا، لاش سے لپٹی ہوئی کہتی تھی ماں مارا گیا۔ صلوات۔
درود بر محمد و آل محمد، صلی علی محمد و آل محمد۔ میرے دل میں غم سرور میں رونے کی خوشی رکھ دی، میرے دل میں غم سرور میں رونے کی خوشی رکھ دی، حیات بے مزہ میں کربلا نے چاشنی رکھ دی۔ او کیا عشق میں ہم نے فقط زنجیر کا ماتم، خلیل رب نے تو بیٹے کی گردن پہ چھری رکھ دی۔ یوں تو ہر ایک نبی نے دیے امتحان مگر، یوں تو ہر ایک نبی نے دیے امتحان مگر، ایک وقت وہ بھی آیا کہ سب نے کہا کہ بس، بولا میرا حسین خدا سے اور پیش کروں کیا، لیکن میرے حسین نے رب سے کہا کہ بس۔ درود بر محمد و آل محمد، محمد و آل محمد۔ جو عزادار سرے فرش عزا بیٹھ گیا، جو عزادار سرے فرش عزا بیٹھ گیا، اس کے پہلو میں شہنشاہ وفا بیٹھ گیا۔ جو عزادار سرے فرش عزا بیٹھ گیا، اس کے پہلو میں شہنشاہ وفا بیٹھ گیا۔ او فرش مجلس کا کہاں ہوتا ہے ہر ایک کو نصیب، فرش مجلس کا کہاں ہوتا ہے ہر ایک کو نصیب، مادر شاہ کا جسے حکم ملا بیٹھ گیا۔ او میں خیالوں ہی خیالوں میں در جنت پر، میں خیالوں ہی خیالوں میں در جنت پر، خاکے عباس کے پرچم کی ہوا بیٹھ گیا۔ او کرتے کرتے جو سفر تھکنے لگا حر کا نصیب، کرتے کرتے جو سفر تھکنے لگا حر کا نصیب، آ کے شاہ دین کی چوکھٹ پہ رکا بیٹھ گیا۔ اور ہم نے دیکھا ہے ہر سال خلاف ماتم، ہم نے دیکھا ہے کہ ہر سال خلاف ماتم، جو بھی طوفان زمانے میں اٹھا بیٹھ گیا۔ وہ ایک پل بھی نہ رکا ماتم سرور، لیکن ایک پل بھی نہ رکا ماتم سرور، لیکن چیختے چیختے مفتی کا گلا بیٹھ گیا۔ درود بر محمد و آل محمد. اللہ
آج کی مجلس کے اسپانسر ناصر شاہ صاحب، ان کی صحت و سلامتی کے لیے ایک بلند تر صلوات. ما صلی اللہ. اور آپ حضرات سے التماس ہے کہ ان کے مرحومین کے لیے ایک سورہ فاتحہ.
اللهم اغفرهم وارحمهم واسكنهم بجوار محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يوصينا معه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون الذي لا يدركه بهد الهمم ولا يناله غوث الفتن الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت محدود ولا أجل ممدود فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووتد بالسخر ميدان أرض ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبنا وحبيب رب العالمين بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن على أدائهم أجمعين من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الرسول بلغ ما أنزل إليك من ربك وإن لم تفعل فما بلغت رسالته والله يحسمك من الناس إن الله لا يهدي القوم الكافرين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we've all heard throughout the years that Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam, he rose up. The revolution of Imam Hussein alayhi salam was why he himself, he says, for Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar. And we've been told countless times that Amr bil Ma'ruf, enjoying goodness, Nahi anil Munkar, forbidding evil. But what does that mean, enjoying goodness? What is that Amr bil Ma'ruf that Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam stood up for? What is that, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah, what is that Nahi anil Munkar that Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he stood up for? If you look at the history and the reason Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam stood up, was there no prayer that was happening? People were praying. People were fasting. People were going to Hajj. People were giving zakat. People were doing umrah. People were doing all this. So what does Imam Hussein alayhi salam mean when he says that I'm rising up for the sake of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar? What does it mean? Because we all say that this is Amr bil Ma'ruf. Namaz, Roza, Hajj, Zakat, Khum, Jihad, all of this is Amr bil Ma'ruf. And we said Nahi anil Munkar is what? Keeping away from alcohol, keeping away from all these bad deeds or all of these commands that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to stay away from. That's Nahi anil Munkar, correct? But all of this was happening. So what was that Amr bil Ma'ruf that Imam Hussein alayhi salam stood up for? If you read the letters that Imam Hussein alayhi salam wrote to Muawiyah before he dies, what does he say? In those letters he says, the only reason that you killed people that were companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen was why? Because they loved Amir al-Mu'mineen. The only reason you killed those companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen was because they loved Amir al-Mu'mineen. The Amr bil Ma'ruf that Imam Hussein alayhi salam stood up for was what Amr bil Ma'ruf? If you pick up Al-Burhan fi Tafsir Quran by Sayyid Hashim Bahrani, he has tafasir, he has narrations from the Aima alayhim salam where they say that in the Quran, where Amr bil Maruf is mentioned, is the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says that the Aima, they say that where it's mentioned Nahi al-Munkar, it means keeping away from those three that usurp the rights of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. What Imam Hussein alayhi salam truly stood up for, the batini meaning of that Amr bil Maruf and Nahi al-Munkar was what? For so long, Amir al-Mu'mineen was being cursed from the mimbars. For so long, Amir al-Mu'mineen was being cursed. For so long, people had forgotten the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. For so long, people had forgotten the right of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And because they had forgotten and because they were cursing, it was this Amr bil Maruf to bring people back to the path of Amir al-Mu'mineen, to bring people back to believing in the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. That was that Amr bil Maruf. That Nahi al-Munkar was what? Telling people, do not believe in people like Muawiyah to be the Khalifa. Because Khilafat is not a mansab that is to be taken for granted. Khilafat is not a mansab for everyone to just come and sit on. No, this Khilafat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, he says that when he created Adam, I am going to place a Khalifa on earth. Me. If people had the right, if creatures had the right to place a Khalifa on earth, then the angels would have placed a Khalifa on earth. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, he says that I am going to place a Khalifa on earth. And wherever the word Khalifa is used, wherever the word Khalifa is used, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, I have made them Khalifa. I have made them Khalifa. Khalifa is the plural of Khalifa. I have made Khalifa, I have made Khalifa. This Khalifa is a ukhda given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And why wouldn't it be? If you think about it, this whole universe was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Correct? This world was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's take an example. If you own a business, and you want someone to represent you in business meetings, are you going to choose the person that will represent you, or are you going to let the employees choose? It's my business. I have the right to choose who will represent me, not the employees. This is a business with 5 people, with 10 people, with 50 people. This is the world of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So why would the people, why would his servants, why would his slaves have the right to choose who represents Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why would we have the right? This is why I started off this lecture with Ayatul Balligh, Surah Al-Ma'idah, very famous verse of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says what? Ya ayyuha Rasul balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik. O my messenger, proclaim what has been sent down to you. And this, inshallah, for the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes, this is going to be my topic. O my messenger, proclaim what has been sent down to you. Ya ayyuha Rasul. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has never spoken to the Holy Prophet in this tone. If you look at the Quran, Ya ayyuha al-Muzammil, Ya ayyuha al-Mudassir, Yasin, Taha. This is the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has spoken to the Holy Prophet. But now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said what? Ya ayyuha Rasul balligh. O my messenger, proclaim. Why has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shifted from saying Yasin, Taha, ayyuha al-Muzammil to my messenger? Why? Because now the message that needs to be proclaimed, it will be proclaimed by the messenger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants everyone to know the importance of this message by telling us what? By telling us, oh my messenger. The job of a messenger is to do what? The job of a messenger is to take messages between 2 people. Correct? This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh my messenger. When it's a very important message, oh my messenger. This message, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by saying, oh my messenger, tells us how important this message is. Oh my messenger, proclaim what has been sent to you. This balligh. There's so much to unpack in this balligh. What is balligh? Balligh in Arabic is a superlative form of balagha. or ibligh. In Arabic, we have qul. Qul huwallahu ahad. Qul huwallahu ahad. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil nas. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Correct? Qul. What does qul mean? Qul means say. Thank you. Qul means say. Balligh means proclaim. What's the difference between qul and balligh? Qul, you can say something openly, you can say something in secret. You can say something out loud, you can say something in a whisper. Correct? But balligh is not to be said secretly. Balligh is not to be said whispered. Balligh is a proclamation. A proclamation, by definition, is supposed to be said out loud for everyone to hear. For everyone to hear. Look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's tawheed, when it comes to His oneness, what does He say? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. He doesn't say balligh huwa Allahu ahad. He doesn't say proclaim Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. He says say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. Meaning what? Meaning when it comes to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not care if you say it out loud or if you say it in a whisper. But when it comes to the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, it's not supposed to be said in a whisper. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants it to be said out loud. This is why He uses the word balligh. How do we proclaim the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen? How do we say it out loud? It's when we say in the azan, Ashhadu anna Amir al-Mu'mineen wa Imam al-Muttaqeen aliyan hujjatullah. That's when we say it out loud. The wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, look at how important this is. Ya ayyuha Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik. Wa in lam taf'al. If you do not proclaim this wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, then it's as if you have not done anything for prophethood at all. It's as if you have not done anything for prophethood at all. What is the job of a prophet? The job of a prophet is to tell the people about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The job of a prophet is to give the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the first, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. And the most important message is tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The holy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Ya, O my prophet, if you do, O my messenger, if you do not proclaim this message, then it's as if you have not done anything for prophethood at all. Meaning what? It's as if you've not even told the people about Tawheed. The years that He spent in Medina, the years that He spent in Mecca, how many years were they total? 23 years. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, O my prophet, if you do not do this, then those 23 years of your service have gone to waste. Why? Because of the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. How is it possible when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is threatening the Holy Prophet by saying that your 23 years of service will go to waste if you do not proclaim this wilayah? Then how is it possible that the Muslimin, they think that without the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, their 80 years of service to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be accepted? Their 90 years of service to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be accepted. The Holy Prophet himself, he says to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Ali, even if someone was to hold on to the drapes of the Kaaba and was to die during the time of Hajj, even if they were to hold on to the drapes of the Kaaba and die during the time of the Hajj, if they did not have your wilayah, then that everything was useless. If they did not have your wilayah, then everything was useless. But let's move forward. Wallahu yahsimuka minan nas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will save you from the people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will protect you from the people. Why did the Holy Prophet need protection? What was the reason that the Holy Prophet, he needed protection? For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say, Allah will protect you for the people. This phrase itself, it tells us that the Holy Prophet was scared of something. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say, Allah, I will protect you, it tells us what? That the Holy Prophet was scared of something. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I will protect you. What was the Holy Prophet scared of? The Holy Prophet, the narrations, they state that the Holy Prophet was afraid that they would belie him. The Holy Prophet was scared that they will not accept that about what he's saying. And that did happen. We'll get to it. The last part of this verse, which is the most important, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does he say? Inna Allah la yahdi al-qawm al-kafirin. Surely, inna Allah, surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not guide the kafirin. Does not guide the kafirin. When did this verse reveal? Right after Hajj. 18th of Zil-Hijjah. After Hajj, they're all coming back from Hajj. That's when this verse was revealed. Correct? All the people that are gathered have just come from Hajj. The only people that are allowed to go to Hajj are Muslims. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not guide the kafirin. Ya Allah, these are all Muslims. They've all just done Hajj. They've all gone around your house 7 times. They've done all of that. Now, the Holy Prophet speaking to these people that have done Hajj, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not guide the kafirin. Who are these kafirin? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if they do not believe in the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, then these are kafirin. This is why Abul Fazl Abbas alayhi salam, he says in his sermon, when he starts up, Ayyuhal kafaratu fajara. When? In the time of Hajj, 8 of Zil-Hijjah, Abul Fazl Abbas alayhi salam, he's given his sermon, he starts off his sermon, Ayyuhal kafaratu fajara. Oh, you kafirs, and oh, you transgressors. Why? Because Abul Fazl Abbas alayhi salam knows that the people that do not believe in the wilayat of his father, Amir al-Mu'mineen, are kafir. He knows that the people that do not believe in the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen are fajr. This is why he starts off that sermon with Ayyuhal kafaratu fajara. This is the basirat of Abul Fazl Abbas alayhi salam. That was his sight. You people that are kafir. Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that Allah will not guide the kafirin? You look at the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Surah Al-Ma'idah. Innama waliyukum Allah. Wa Rasul. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ رَاكِعُونَ. Innama, only and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your wali and his prophet. And those individuals that keep up prayers and give zakat in a state of ruku. Correct? In this verse, the Sunni Mufassirin, they translate wali to mean friend. They translate wali to mean friend. Meaning what? Only and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your friend. And his prophet and those that keep up prayers and give zakat in a state of ruku. That's fine. The word innama, this particle innama, what it does is it comes for hasr. Meaning it comes to encompass. Whatever is in between this innama cannot come out. Whatever is outside cannot come in. That's innama. Correct? Only and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your friend. And his prophet. And those individuals that keep up prayers, that give zakat in a state of ruku. If wilaya means friend, if wali means friend, then that means that if you have more than these 3 friends, you have done shirk. You have committed kufr. Friends. If you take the meaning of friends, that means that only and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your friend, only and only the Holy Prophet is your friend, only and only Amir al-Mu'mineen is your friend. So if you bring in Abu Bakr and make him your friend, then you've committed kufr. If you bring in Umar and you consider him your friend, that you've done kufr. Usman, kufr. Anyone other than Amir al-Mu'mineen is kufr then. If you translate it to mean friend. But this wali here does not mean friend. The wali here means master. Our ulama, they say wali here means master. Only and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your master. If you translate it to mean friend, then what about master? Can a mu'min be the master of another mu'min? They could. You have master and slave. Correct? We had masters, we had slaves. Correct? But the wilayah that a master has over a slave, how much wilayah is that? The wilayah that a mu'min has over another mu'min, how much wilayah is that? The wilayah, the authority that a husband has over a wife, how much authority is that? The authority that a father, a mother has over their kids, how much authority is that? There's a difference in authority of all of them. Meaning what? A mu'min has authority over another mu'min. A mu'min has authority over another mu'min. What is this authority? The narration state that Amir al-Mu'min, the Holy Prophet, they say that a mu'min has 30 rights over another mu'min. 30 rights. If only we gave our mu'mineen brothers and sisters half of those rights, we wouldn't have a lot of the problems that we have in society. If only we knew what those 30 rights were over our mu'mineen brothers and sisters, just knew, we wouldn't have a lot of the problems that we have in society. But many of us, we don't even know. If I was to ask, can you name me five, just five, out of the 30, just five, many of you wouldn't know. Correct? But one of the wilayas, or one of the authorities that one mu'min has over another, is that a mu'min is supposed to know the well-being, the spiritual well-being, the physical well-being, the mental well-being, and the whole well-being of another mu'min. They have to know. This is why in early days of Islam, the ulama, they say that this is why Jummah prayer was wajib. And it will be wajib again. Why? So once a week, all of the mu'mineen can get together and they can know this mu'min is in trouble, he needs help. Once a week. So everyone can get together in the community and know what are the problems in that community. Who's suffering from what problem? How can I help this mu'min? This is what was supposed to happen. And today, we take that Jummah prayer for granted. Some of us don't even show up. Correct? We're busy with our lives. I get all that. But this was one of the philosophies. This is one of the philosophies that the ulama say. Now Thursday nights, if we don't show up Fridays, okay, Thursday nights a lot of us show up. But how many of us actually ask our other mu'mineen brothers, what can I do for you? Do you need any help from me? No, we'll sit outside, we'll sit inside, we'll just gossip. What's supposed to happen, we don't do. What's not supposed to happen, we do. Correct? The mu'min has rights over another mu'min. But does a mu'min have the right to tell another mu'min brother to go kill themselves? Meaning what? Meaning that does a mu'min brother have a right over the life of another mu'min? No, he doesn't. A father, does he have the right over the life of the son and the daughter? Meaning what? Meaning can the father, the mother tell the child to go kill themselves? No, they don't have that right. There are degrees of wilayah, there are degrees of authority, there are degrees of rights. In this verse, Innama waliyukumullah, the one who holds this authority, only and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your wali. Means what? Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the authority to kill, He has the authority to bring back to life. That same authority the Holy Prophet has. The authority to kill, the authority to bring back to life. That same authority, those people that keep up prayers and give zakat in a state of ruku have. The ability to kill, the ability to bring back to life. There is no difference in their wilayah. That's what Shaheed Mutahari says in his book. In English, it's been translated into master and mastership. In Urdu, in Farsi, in Arabic, Falsafatul Wilayah. That's what he says. In this verse, there is no difference. Imam Zaman alayhi salam himself, he says in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken out every barrier there was. Wilaya, walaya, all of this, what does it mean? It means that two things that are situated so close together that you can't see the boundaries. You can't see the boundaries. Meaning if my fingers are so close, these are two fingers. They're so close together, you can't tell them apart. Meaning what? They look like one. They're two, but they look like one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Imam Zaman alayhi salam says that this is our wilayah. We're separate, but the wilayah is so close together. It's one. All barriers that were there between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wilayah and the creature's wilayah, it ceases to exist in ayatul wilayah. There are no barriers there. However much authority he has over his creatures, that's the same amount of authority that the Holy Prophet has. That's the same amount of authority that the Aimah have. This is what it means to be Imam. This is what it means to be Khalifatullah. If you're the Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you're going to have to show that you're the Khalifa. How are you going to show? By showing us the miracles if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them to you or not. Why? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bring back the dead to life, you should have that ability. If you claim that you're the representative of that God that can bring back the dead to life, you should be able to do it. If you claim that you're the representative that can create something out of nothing, then you should be able to create something out of nothing. You're claiming to be a representative of that one being. And you had people claiming to be Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that did not even know basic fiqh. Basic fiqh. What do I mean? The very first case that came in front of Abu Bakr was about a person that drank wine. About a person that drank wine. This person, he comes and he tells them the verses that deal with drinking wine and the punishment for wine, no one had ever recited them to me. No one recited them to me. Abu Bakr, he looks at Umar. And Umar doesn't know what to do. They both look at each other. Then they say the only person that can do this is Amir al-Mu'mineen. They call Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he hears the case and he just tells them, without saying anything, he just tells them something that you all can think of too. He's claiming what? That no one has recited to me the verses concerning the punishment for drinking wine. How are you going to verify that claim? By going to wherever he lives, going to whatever town he lives in, and asking the people, did anyone recite these verses over here? Did anyone tell this person that drinking wine is haram? That's it. These two Khalifas of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could not even come up with this simple solution. They go to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen tells them, take him and send a soldier and go find out from wherever he is if these verses of the Quran were ever recited to him. If they say no, they were never recited, then let him go. If they say yes, they were recited, then you flog him the floggings that he deserves. That's it. A case came in the time of Umar. A case came in the time of Umar. What happened? The mother, she disowned her child. When the father had passed away, when it came to inheritance, the mother, she disowned the child. The child, he went to Umar and he claimed that this mother, she's disowned me. I'm her son, but she's disowned me. And why? Because the inheritance. She's going to get all the inheritance. Umar, he was about to throw him in jail. Why? Because he was cursing. He was bad-mouthed. When he was cursing, Umar, he tells the soldiers to go throw him in jail. While he was on his way to jail, he sees Amir al-Mu'mineen come. When he sees Amir al-Mu'mineen come, he says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, can you please help me? I'm in trouble. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, what's the problem? He tells them that my mother, she basically disowned me for the inheritance and she won't give me my right. She won't give me my right. And she's telling people that I'm not her son. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he tells the soldiers to take him back. When the soldier, he takes them back, Umar, he asks, why did you bring him back? I told you to take him to jail. The soldier says, Amir al-Mu'mineen told me to take him back. This tells you how much authority Umar truly had. He told his soldier to take him to jail. Amir al-Mu'mineen tells the soldier to take him back. The soldier, instead of listening to Umar ibn Khattab, he listens to Amir al-Mu'mineen. How much authority did he truly have? Just think about it. Correct? He takes him back. Amir al-Mu'mineen comes to him and he tells Umar, go bring me the woman. The woman comes and he asks, what's the problem? He's claiming to be your son. Is he your son? She says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, he's not my son. And she brings 40 witnesses from her tribe. She brings 40 witnesses from her tribe. And they all testify. They say, no, that's not her. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, okay, if this isn't your son, then do you allow me to marry you to someone? She says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, who better than you? He tells his servant, Qamr, go bring me some dinar. And he says that I marry you to this young boy for this many dinars. I marry you to this young man for this many dinars. That's when the woman, she starts screaming and says, Ya Ali, you married me to my own son. You're marrying me to my own son. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he gets mad and he says, you just said right now and you brought 40 witnesses claiming that this wasn't your son. Why did you do that? I apologize. Ya Ali, I apologize. This is truly my son. That was one of the times Umar ibn Khattab, what does he say? If Ali wasn't there, I would have perished. If you look at the amount of times that he said that in his life, over 25 times. If it wasn't for Ali, I would have perished. If it wasn't for Ali, I would have perished. Meaning what? If it wasn't for Amir al-Mu'mineen, I would have been, in Urdu, how do we say it? Halak. Correct? Even Umar knows life and death is in the hands of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Even Umar knows Jannat and Nar is in the hands of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And yet we have Muslims today, when we say that Jannat and Nar, heaven and hell is in the hands of Amir al-Mu'mineen, this is kufr. This is kufr. It's in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of those companions knew that it was in the hands of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. In terms of this wilayah that Amir al-Mu'mineen had, was there a difference between his wilayah, the wilayah of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, the wilayah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam? No, there's no difference. One. Two, when we talk about Amir al-Mu'mineen, we refrain from using certain words. Why? Because we don't understand them. For example, if I would say Ali Jalla Jalaluhu, Ali Jalla Jalaluhu, forget Rabb, Ali Rabb now. No. If I was to say Ali Jalla Jalaluhu, correct? A lot of people, they'll be up in arms. Jalla Jalaluhu, this is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't use this for Imam Ali. It's wrong to use this for Imam Ali. It's only and only used for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? What is Jalal? Tell me. Someone just shout out the first answer that comes to your mind. What is Jalal? I heard anger. Anger. Correct? Anger. Everyone I ask this, they all say that it is anger. Let's say it's anger. No one can define to me what Jalal truly is. The closest they come to is anger. Let's say it's anger. Let's say it's anger. How are you going to know if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry? He has no face. One, how are you going to know if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry? He has no face. The only way that you're going to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry, that means that He has to have a representative on this earth who is the face, who is His face. A representative on this earth who is His hands. A representative on this earth who are His eyes. A representative on this earth who are His ears. When you see this face that represents Him, when there's anger on this face, then that is the Jalal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the Jalal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the only way you can truly accept Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. Why? If you say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a face, and that Jalal appears on that face. In our Shia Aqaid, we have Sifat Sabutiyya and Sifat Salbiyya. How many Sifat Sabutiyya? Thank you so much. 8. How many Sifat Salbiyya? 8. Sifat Sabutiyya 8, Sifat Salbiyya 8. Of those Sifat Salbiyya, one of the Sifat Salbiyya is Mahall Hawadis. Meaning what? There cannot come any change in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There can't come any change in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy, if you say that Allah subhanahu, let's say Jalal, let's say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry. That means what? That means before that he wasn't angry. Now that he's angry, there's a change that came on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That change cannot be on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because he's mahalla hawadis. There's no hawadis that affects him. He can't change. It's a change of state from happiness to anger. There is no change that happens within Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the change can happen within the creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's one of the reasons we say what? That even though the Aima alayhim salam are that close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're still His creatures. Why? Because it's on them that this change comes on. They change, their body changes. But this change does not happen on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why when you hear Ali Jalla Jalaluhu, the only way that you can, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah, the only way that it is true is if you believe that Amir al-Mu'mineen is the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's on that wajh that this Jalal appears on. The Jalal does not appear on the feet. The Jalal does not appear on the eyes. Jalal does not appear on the hands. The Jalal does not appear on the ears. It appears on the face. So when you see Amir al-Mu'mineen angry, that's the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you see Imam Hassan angry, that's the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you see the Holy Prophet angry, when you saw the Holy Prophet angry against some of the wives, that means what? That was the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This anger, all of these emotions that we attribute to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they appear on His servants, they appear on these messengers, they appear on these imams. That's when we know that yes, He's truly happy. That's when we know that yes, He's truly angry. So when you hear other mu'mineen saying Ali Jalla Jalaluhu, understand in what context they're saying this from. Why? Because the verse of the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Zul Jalal wal Ikram. Huwa Zul Jalal wal Ikram. Narration from Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. He says that we are the Jalal and Ikram of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are the Jalal and Ikram of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then why is there a problem if I say Ali Jalla Jalaluhu? Why is there a problem if I say Muhammad Jalla Jalaluhu? Why is there a problem if I say Hassan Jalla Jalaluhu? It shouldn't be a problem. What needs to happen is everyone needs to start opening up their minds. Everyone needs to start opening up their minds and not still say Panjitan Panch, Imam Bara, Masoom Choda. No, Masoom are more than Choda. The 124,000 prophets, are they not Masoom? They are. They are. The angels, are they not Masoom? They are. So Masoom Choda? What's the difference between their isma and the ismat of the imams? There's a difference. But Masoom are not Choda. Correct? The difference is that the isma that the imams have, even the prophets don't have that isma. Isma, these young children that are in front of me, what do we say about them? Masoom. Ye bachche masoom hai. These children are masoom. Correct? How is it possible that these children, from when they're born to at the very least the age of 7, they're masoom? Yet when the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was born, he wasn't masoom until he became a prophet. These children, they're masoom. Every Muslim will believe that these children are masoom. From when they're born to the age of at least 7, they're masoom. Yet when you go to those Muslims, they say that no, the Holy Prophet became masoom when he was 40. How's that possible? This is why I say you need to start opening up your mind. Think about what's being said. Figure out in what context it's being said. Before, we had a problem with people saying Ali Rab, Ali Rab, Ali Rab. What's the problem with that? When you read Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam's qissa, his whole story, Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam says the word Rab one time. When he says the word Rab, verse number 42, Surah Al-Yusuf, verse number 42. When he uses the word Rab, he's referring to who? The king of Egypt. When his two companions came to him, they told him that we've seen a dream. We've seen a dream, correct? When they said that we've seen a dream, Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, and they wanted the interpretation, Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam gives them the interpretation. For one of them, he says what? That you will go back to your Rabb. You will go back to your Rabb. What Rabb was Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam speaking about? This person, he was a polytheist. He was a mushrik. Yet Hazrat Yusuf says that you will go back to your Rabb. This Rabb was king, the king of Misr. You will go back to your Rabb and you will continue to do what you were doing for him. Meaning what? He used to serve wine to the king. Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, he says that he will go back to his Rabb, correct? That same verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself uses the word Rabb to mean other than him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, he uses the word Rabb to mean other than him. When the Quran itself, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used the word Rabb to mean other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then what is the problem if I use the word Rabb to mean Amir al-Mu'mineen? Ya Ali, Ya Ali. What is the problem if I use the word Rabb to mean Amir al-Mu'mineen? There shouldn't be a problem. But we haven't opened up our minds yet. We still think that the Imams are like you and I. We haven't gone past that. But inshallah, this is what needs to happen. The next generation needs to take the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen a step further. Just the same way we all took it a step further from our parents. This wilayah needs to continue to move forward. And it needs to continue to be passed on. This is why you should always thank your mother. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says what? He said, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. The Mu'mineen should thank their mothers for giving them the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Why? Because this wilayah is the greatest ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, he says in what? In Ghadir, that this day I have perfected your religion and what? I have given you the best ni'mah, which was after the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen was pronounced. And it was this wilayah that Imam Hussein alayhi salam stood up for. Why? Because Muawiyah alayhi, he had ordered people to curse Amir al-Mu'mineen from all the mimbars in Mecca, Medina, Sham, wherever his sultanate went to. People were cursing him. It was this wilayah. It was this Amr bil Ma'ruf to guide people back to the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. That Nahi al-Munkar was to tell people to not go towards Muawiyah alayhi, to not go towards Yazid. Why? Because throughout their whole life, you look at their whole genealogy, you look at everything that this family has done, they've always fought against Rasulullah. They've always fought against. The first person, when Amir al-Mu'mineen's right was usurped, do you know who the first person was to come to Amir al-Mu'mineen and says, Ya Ali, rise up? Abu Sufyan alayhi. He was the first person. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, he looks at him and he says, what do you have to do with religion? Abu Sufyan, what do you have to do with religion? Because he himself, Amir al-Mu'mineen, says that you did not accept Islam, but you put down your sword. Because when the Holy Prophet, Abu Sufyan, he became, as the Muslims say, he became Muslim when? After the conquest of Mecca, when the Holy Prophet went. What did he say to them? He said to everyone that you have 4 options. If you accept Islam, you'll be forgiven. 1. 2, if you lay down your weapons, you will be forgiven. 2. 3, if you take sanctuary in Mecca, in Haram, you'll be forgiven. 4, just to show how lenient he was. Some of the narrations, they say that if you take refuge with Abu Sufyan, you'll be forgiven. Abu Sufyan never accepted Islam. All he did was he put down his sword. That was it. And that's what Amir al-Mu'mineen says. That you did not accept Islam, you just put down your sword. And today, this person is known to be a Muslim who picked up his sword against the Holy Prophet, known to be a Muslim. But that uncle of the Holy Prophet who picked up his sword in support of the Holy Prophet, today he is known as a kafir. This is the justice that Muslims have done with the Holy Prophet. The enemies of the Holy Prophet, or anyone that came and fought against Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they're up here. Anyone that supported the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they're down here. They're down here. The Holy Prophet has said what? For example, Salman, minna Ahlul Bayt. Salman is from us, Ahlul Bayt. Abu Zar, minna Ahlul Bayt. Abu Zar is from us, Ahlul Bayt. From everyone that existed at that time, who was greater, the Ahlul Bayt or the companions? The Ahlul Bayt. Abu Zar and Salman are from the Ahlul Bayt. But when you ask the majority of Muslims, their status is lower than Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman. How? When this narration, Salman minna Ahlul Bayt, is in the Shias, with the Shias and the Sunnis. It was this that Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he stood up for. To bring back and remind people about the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Do you all know what Lady Zainab Salawatullah used to do when she came back? Yes, she would cry over Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. But when she came back to Medina, she would constantly remind the people, the reason everything that happened with my brother Hussein was because of what happened with my father Amir al-Mu'mineen. Because my father's right was taken away from him, all of this happened. And she used to constantly remind the people about the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. This same Zainab, brothers and sisters, when she was leaving Medina, her brothers were there to look after her. When she was leaving Mecca, her brother Hussein is there helping her get onto that camel. Her brother Abul Fazl Abbas alayhi salam is there helping her getting onto that camel. Her nephew Ali al-Akbar is there helping her get onto that camel. But after Karbala, there is no Abbas, there is no Akbar, there is no Hussein. There is no one to put Lady Zainab onto that camel. When she left Medina, when she left Mecca, she left like she was the queen and the princess of Ahlul Bayt. When she left Karbala, she left a slave. She left what? As if she was a slave. To the point where when they entered Sham, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, he himself, when he says Asham, 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 he says one of the things that happened in Sham was that we were going to be sold as slaves in the markets, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved us. Lady Sakina herself, when they went into the Darbar of Yazid, one of the people of Yazid, he says to Yazid, Yazid, give me this little girl. And that's when Lady Zainab, she says, Yazid, you have no right to give this girl away. And Yazid, he says, who are you to say this to me? I have every right. And she says, no, if you're a Muslim, you don't have the right to give this girl away. And that's when Yazid, he stays quiet. Lady Sakina, brothers and sisters, the story of Sakina, she sees her tents being burnt in Karbala. She goes in, she searches for her grandfather. The narrations, they state that on the 11th of Muharram, Lady Sakina, on their way to Kufa, she asked Shibr for some water. What does Shibr say? Shibr, he says to Lady Sakina, you will get water after all my soldiers have been given water. When all the soldiers were given water, that's when Lady Sakina, she asked for some water. Then he says to her that you will get water after all of the animals have been given water. When she asked for water after all these animals were given water, that's when Shibr, he looks at Sakina, he looks at the sack that he had water in, and he pours that water on the ground, and he says to Sakina that you will never get any water as long as I'm alive. Brothers and sisters, it's this Sakina. She comes to Sham, and when she sees the head of her father, she starts to cry and she passes away. Brother and sister, when this caravan of Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam, when this caravan of Lady Zainab was leaving Sham, what does Lady Zainab say? She says to Sayyid Sajjad, oh Sajjad, can you do me one favor? Can you tell Yazid that we want to go back to the Darbar? Sayyid Sajjad, he says to Lady Zainab, oh my auntie dear, you want me to ask a favor from Yazid? And she says, oh my son Sajjad, please. Why? Because I want to go back to the Darbar. There was an amanat of my brother Abu Abdullah Hussein that is buried there. And what happens? They go to that Darbar. Sayyid Sajjad, he throws himself on top of that grave, and Lady Zainab, she throws herself on top of that grave. But before she was buried, what happens? They ask a woman to come and give the ghusl to Lady Sakina Sallallahu. When this woman comes, before she starts pouring water, she starts to do ghusl. She turns around to Lady Zainab and she says to her, I can't give her ghusl. That's when Lady Zainab, she says, why can't you give her ghusl? She says that, what did she suffer from? What disease did she suffer from? Lady Zainab, she goes, what do you mean? And this lady, she says, look at her body is nothing but blue and purple. Lady Zainab, she starts to cry and she says, oh lady, she did not suffer from any disease, but every time she would call for her father, anytime she would cry for her father, she would constantly be struck and she would constantly be whipped by Shibr. And brothers and sisters, when Imam Zain al-Abidin comes onto this grave, he starts to cry. When he starts to cry, he says, oh my dear sister, you always wanted to go back to our watan, you always wanted to go back home, but my hands were tied, I couldn't do anything. But oh my sister dear, my hands are untied now. If you want to go back, we can go back.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وَاللَّعْنَةُ اللَّهِ عَلَى قَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ. Matam Hussein.
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein,
Zainab hazine man, Zainab hazine man, qahara Khuda hafiz. Zainab hazine man, Zainab Khuda hafiz. Zainab hazine man, Zainab Khuda hafiz. Zainab hazine man, qahara Khuda hafiz. Man ke bhi alamdaram be moin be yar. من کے بھی علمدارم بے معین و بے یارم از حیات بیزارم از حیات بیزارم خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ اے میری بہن زینب گھر تیرے حوالے ہے اے میری بہن زینب گھر تیرے حوالے ہے جو لائق سجدہ ہے سر اس کے حوالے ہے جو لائق سجدہ ہے سر اس کے حوالے ہے بس چلنے کو ہے خنجر بس چلنے کو ہے خنجر خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ مارے گئے سب بہنا ہم رہ گئے اب تنہا مارے گئے سب بہنا ہم رہ گئے اب تنہا اس عالم غربت میں مشکل ہے میرا جینا اس عالم غربت میں مشکل ہے میرا جینا مارے گئے سب دل بر مارے گئے سب دل بر خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ من کے بھی علمدارم بے معین و بے یارم من کے بھی علمدارم بے معین و بے یارم از حیات بیزارم از حیات بیزارم خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ خنجر میری گردن پہ جب شمر چلائے گا خنجر میری گردن پہ جب شمر چلائے گا رہ رہ کے مجھے تیرا چہرہ نظر آئے گا رہ رہ کے مجھے تیرا چہرہ نظر آئے گا تو ہوگی برہ ناصر تو ہوگی برہ ناصر خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زندہ کے اندھیرے میں جب روئے میری بچی زندہ کے اندھیرے میں جب روئے میری بچی دل جوئی بہت کرنا اس وقت بہن اس کی دل جوئی بہت کرنا اس وقت بہن اس کی مر جائے نہ وہ گھٹ کر مر جائے نہ وہ گھٹ کر خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زندہ سے رہا ہو کر جب سوئے وطن جانا زندہ سے رہا ہو کر جب سوئے وطن جانا جو ظلم ہوئے ہم پر صغرا کو وہ بتلانا جو ظلم ہوئے ہم پر صغرا کو وہ بتلانا ہم قتل ہوئے کیوں کر ہم قتل ہوئے کیوں کر خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ کہنا تیری فرقت میں اکبر بھی تڑپتا تھا کہنا تیری فرقت میں اکبر بھی تڑپتا تھا سوتا تھا سر مختل جب خط تیرا آیا تھا سوتا تھا سر مختل جب خط تیرا آیا سینے پہ سینہ کھا کر سینے پہ سینہ کھا کر خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ ہر گود میں ڈھونڈے گی صغرا علی اصغر کو ہر گود میں ڈھونڈے گی صغرا علی اصغر کو تم خود ہی بتا دینا بیمار کو مستر کو تم خود ہی بتا دینا بیمار کو مستر کو نہ وقت لگا گردن پر نہ وقت لگا گردن پر خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حزین من خواہرہ خدا حافظ پوچھے جو سکینہ کو بیمار میری دختر پوچھے جو سکینہ سکینہ کو بیماری بدلانا کے زندان میں وہ مر گئی رو رو کر، بدلانا کے زندان میں وہ مر گئی رو رو کر، وہ زخم بھی ہے دل پر، وہ زخم ہے دل پر، قاہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حسین من، قاہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حسین من، قاہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حسین من، قاہرہ خدا حافظ۔ مارے گئے سب کہنا ہم رہ گئے اب تنہا، مارے گئے سب کہنا ہم رہ گئے اب تنہا، اس عالم غربت میں مشکل ہے میرا جینا، اس عالم غربت میں مشکل ہے میرا جینا، مارے گئے سب دلبر، مارے گئے سب دلبر، قاہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حسین من، قاہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حسین من، قاہرہ خدا حافظ۔ من کے بھی علمدار بے معین و بے یار، من کے بھی علمدار بے معین و بے یار، از حیات بیزارم، از حیات بیزارم، قاہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حسین من، قاہرہ خدا حافظ زینب حسین من، زینب حسین من، قاہرہ خدا حافظ۔ یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین،
میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا۔ مجمع ہے کوفیوں کا، میرے چلنے کی جا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا۔ سجاد میری سر سے نو بار چنی چادر، غلبے میں نبی زادی پھروائی گئی در در، مل جاتا مجھ کو اور میری دعا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا۔ سجاد چلوں کیسے لاکھوں ہے تماشائی، یاد آتا ہے رہ رہ کے عباس میرا بھائی، فریاد کروں کیسے اب تیرے سوا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا۔ سجاد میرے دل کو درد ستاتا ہے، سر غازی کے نیزے سے جب خاک پہ آتا ہے، سر میرا کھلا دیکھے غم اس سے بڑا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں، میرے سر پہ ردا کوئی نہیں، بازار جفا۔ معلوم ہے عطا کو غازی کی بہن ہوں میں، بے داس ہے وہ غازی میرا کوئی نہیں بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں میرے سر پردہ کوئی نہیں بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں میرے سر پردہ کوئی نہیں بازار جفا مجمع ہے کوفیوں کا میرے چلنے کی جا کوئی نہیں بازار جفا سجاد میں زینب ہوں میرے سر پردہ کوئی نہیں بازار جفا یا حسین
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین
منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر آئے سجاد کو لے آئی ہے تقدیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر آج شاید کے زمانے میں علمدار نہیں آج شاید کے زمانے میں علمدار نہیں ورنہ دربار میں عباس کی ہمشیر کہاں ورنہ دربار میں عباس کی ہمشیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر کہاں خیر ہو اصغر معصوم کی دل ڈر آ گئے خیر ہو اصغر معصوم کی دل ڈر آ گئے کوئی للہ بتا دو کہ چلے تھی کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر چین سے سوئے گی زنداں میں سکینہ کیسے چین سے سوئے گی زنداں میں سکینہ کیسے اب گھر بار کہاں سینہ شبیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر کہاں آج کوفے میں گبے پر گالی کی بیٹی آج کوفے میں گبے پر گالی کی بیٹی آئی شہزادی یہ کونین کی تشہیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر کہاں منزل شام کہاں غیرت شبیر کہاں ڈھونڈنے جائے گی کس جا ڈھونڈنے جائے گی کس کس جگہ بچا ماں ڈھونڈنے جائے گی کس کس اصغر کو ڈھونڈنے لے جائے گی کس جگہ اصغر کو، دشت خار میں ہے تربت بشیر کہاں، منزل شام کہاں، غیرت شبیر کہاں، منزل شام کہاں، غیرت شبیر کہاں۔ آج شاید کے زمانے میں علمدار نہیں، آج شاید کے زمانے میں علمدار نہیں، ورنہ دربار میں عباس کی ہمشیر کہاں، منزل شام کہاں، غیرت شبیر کہاں، منزل شام کہاں، غیرت شبیر کہاں۔ آئے سجاد کو لے آئی ہے تقدیر کہاں، منزل شام کہاں، غیرت شبیر کہاں۔ یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلی آلہ۔
السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ، السلام علیکم یا امیر المومنین، السلام علیکم یا صدیقۃ فاطمۃ الزہرا سیدۃ النساء العالمین، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا حسن المجتبی، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا غریب الغرباء یا ابا عبداللہ، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا علی بن الحسین، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا محمد بن علی، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا جعفر بن محمد، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا موسیٰ بن جعفر، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا علی بن موسیٰ، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا محمد بن علی، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا علی بن محمد، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا حسن بن علی، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا صاحب العصر الزمان، علمان 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 من فتن الزمان، عجل اللہ تعالی فرجک و ظہورک وجعلنا من انصارک ورحمت اللہ وبرکاتہ۔ Amma Yujibul for the well-being of this 8-month-old boy Ali Akbar Abbas, and for the well-being of his father. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Amma yujibul mustarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su', 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 amma yujibul mustarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. Ya Allah, بحق Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, please give Shifa Kamil to this boy, give Shifa Kamil to this father, and Ya Allah, give Shifa Kamil to all of the mu'mineen, mu'minat that are sick and that are in need of your Shifa. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.